this video, I'll give you a few short tips how to improve technical capacity playing this beautiful prelude by Johann Sebastian Bach. And for those of you who want to make a significant progress in this piece, please check out the link in the description with a full course where I also explain you the structure of this piece. We will speak a bit more about efficiency, and of course we'll be speaking about interpretation options, about stylistics, how to approach Bach, and so on and so forth. So the first task here when you play that piece would be to coordinate motions and to get rid of unnecessary tension, and for that we have to master such a way of playing that would allow us to always have a good support at the bed of the key. So the worst thing that might happen here is a static tension in the hands, holding the weight of the hands and working with isolated fingers, because it's not efficient. It also doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound convincing, especially in Bach. So in Bach we always have to ground ourselves, to always feel the support in the bed of the key. And whenever you proceed to the next key, you transfer the weight of the hand towards the finger that works right now, releasing the previous one. So at first I would suggest you to practice that in a moderate tempo and concentrate on a sensation of support in each finger and absolute relaxation in all the other fingers. Then, of course, keeping in mind some efficiency strategies. For people with smaller hands, I would tell that when you have some wider spots, like this one, for example, it's very important to coordinate your motions, playing the first note out and the second one in, like that. So not staying horizontally, because this will increase stretch and tension. So you always manage such leaps, like step on that black key, pom, pom. Like that. It will help you to manage such wide spots. And then basically what happens here, it's a combination of two motions, two principal motions in piano playing. It's a forearm rotation. When you go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and motion in, out. In, out, in, out, in, out, in. I explain in my courses dedicated to the basics of technique in detail what those motions are. But just quickly summing up, motion in is when your elbow goes just a tiny bit forward, like half of an inch, thus increasing the stability in the knuckle, but make sure that your wrist doesn't go up while you do that motion. Yeah? So when we go in, we increase stability in the knuckle. And when we go out, this is kind of a pulling sensation, like that. You don't really slide through the key, but as if you would want to slide. So one motion in, out, and forearm rotation. And I would suggest you to at first practice them separately. So at first, rotation, and then in, out. Making sure that you transfer the weight between fingers, releasing the fingers that are done very quickly so they don't overlap. And then, of course, you will find a golden middle between these two motions. And you will find compromise between them, and of course you will minimize this motion them. So at first you might exaggerate them, but the goal is to make them really small, so helpful but not really noticeable from the side. Then there are some uncomfortable spots, like for example in bar number 14, this spot is not really comfortable. That's why in Wiener Urtext, for example, there is a nice fingering suggestion for the left hand, playing it with fingers of 4, 1, 3, 1, 2. So you use a second finger on A flat, like that. So this is your fingering for this bar. This is very helpful, actually. Then, of course, there are some spots, like for example in bar 19. Here we have to also coordinate motions out, in, like that. So properly coordinating motions in order to strengthen the fourth finger. You can learn that in pairs. Study, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, like that first. It will help you to grasp the idea. And then oppositely. So that coordination is very, very important here. And of course, presto. When we get to presto, we have similar tasks. At first, mastering the ability to transfer the weight, and have good support in each finger that works, releasing all the other ones, getting rid of tension and supporting yourself. That's why comfortable tempo, mezzo forte, and of course releasing the whole arm. Yeah, so your elbow always follows whatever your fingers are doing. You don't do anything extra, anything specially with your elbow. You just free it up, and you allow your elbow to follow your fingers. Like that, yes. And then, of course, also synchronizing motions here. And for that task, I would suggest you to first break these passages in motifs. Motifs of 4 notes. One motif. So you start that motif on the movement out, and then the rest of the motif is one smooth motion in. Like that. Out, in. And next one is one smooth motion out. Out. In. Out. In. Well, here's a bit different. We have to go in the keyboard for that black key, but also it's one smooth motion like that. Out, in. Yeah, that's why learning in motifs first and making sure that you can play each motif with good support, and you can release the finger after motifs. You can separate them. Just make sure that you release the finger instead of pulling it up after the motif. Yeah, so this is run. Boom, just release and make sure that you relax all the fingers. In, out. And if you feel that some of them is particularly uncomfortable, you just loop it. Playing it a few times in a row. In this way, you can track the most tricky spots and zoom in and master exactly what doesn't work instead of working through the whole passage again and again. So it saves a lot of time. And in bar 30, there's also a possibility to take the D in the left hand. Boom, like that. Taking the D in the left hand, playing the fifths, and while you hit the D, boom, your right hand doesn't waste any time. It just moves immediately towards the next G. And it will allow you to not freak out about that leap. Of course, there always will be some people who will say that, no, it's in the right hand, it must be played with the right hand, you're cheating and stuff. Yes, I'm cheating. And when you get to that tricky spot in bar 32, what is important here is to free up the hand, so also learning that in motifs, starting from the second 16th note, always. And whenever you get to the thumb, whenever you go to the thumb, free up the hand first. So you go right, left, right, left. Oh, especially here. Yeah, so kind of throwing over the next finger, not trying to manage that horizontally. For those of you who want to learn more about this piece, please follow the link in the description, where we will cover much more aspects of this piece, and of course the fugue. The fugue needs a special approach, and I will explain you how to learn it in order to master both preludium and fugue. Have fun playing piano, and see you next time.